I'd like to still stay with Jim Wilkin for number 21, if that's possible, because they're so related. This is resolution number 21, a little bit more around the same topic.
Thank you. I'd like to speak now to Resolution 2015-21, again on behalf of the Safe Sanctuaries Committee. Resolution relates to electronic media usage policy, and I move for the adoption of Resolution 2015-21.
Are there any questions? I see someone coming in microphone number 2.
I have an amendment to offer.
You're in order.
My name is Doug O'Connell, lay equalizing delegate from the Northwest District. I move to amend Resolution 2015-21 by striking the words "or use of hate language."
What line is that?
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
After the word "threats" in paragraph 2C, line 29. Okay. And by striking the words "engaging in partisan political activities" in paragraph 2E, line 32.
Okay, would you say that one more time?
Sure. Striking the words in line 29, "or use of hate language," and effectively striking paragraph 2E, partisan political activities.
Does it have a second? I hear a second. Would you like to speak to it?
Yes, I would. Hate speech is a nebulous term that's been used in the current culture to characterize statements with which the hearer strongly disagrees. I imagine that some people might even characterize Jesus' words to the Pharisees, calling them "you brood of vipers," as hate speech. Regarding political activism, the Methodist Church has a long tradition of social activism, which may at times cross the bounds into partisan political activism. As a point in fact, 3 of the resolutions being proposed are being sent to the governor's office, and again, depending on the hearer, that may be interpreted as partisan political activism.
Okay. Would anyone like to speak for or against this amendment, this number 1?
I'd like to speak against it. My name is Kim Eckhart, and I'm from Faith Alive, UMC in Bowmanstown. I'm a lay delegate.
Thank you.
I understand the heart of this is very good to control the electronic, against bad stuff.
Are you speaking against the whole thing or just that amendment we were talking about?
Oh, against the whole thing.
Okay, we got to wait. It's just the amendment we're on right this second. So hang tight. You'll all get a chance. But does anyone want to speak for or against this amendment that just came up that regards item 2, line C and E? The amendment only. Anyone in order? Amendment number 1.
I am for the amendment. I'm Paul Davis from Reading Holy Cross. And I believe that the speaker, the offer of the amendment is correct, that we have, that our church is being attacked by people who want to shut us down. And the way to do it is to call everything we say hate or violent words or hate language, and to say that everything we say is political. Now, I think that the words of the Constitution say that you can say what you want to say, and people can either agree with it or not. But I think that we're abusing ourselves by saying that we're going to limit our language.
Okay, that's a speech in favor. Would anyone like to speak against the amendment? Microphone number 2.
Jim McIntyre, clergy at Hope Church in Havertown. I would like to hear the presenter actually speak about the definition of hate language in terms of the law. I'm assuming this is coming directly from the law. But regarding partisan political activities, I disagree with the maker of this amendment. We are not permitted to participate in partisan political activities. Sending a resolution on to the governor is sending it to an elected official who represents all of us once that person is elected. Sending it to our senators, our representatives. What this is referring to is political campaigning in a particular partisan way. And that does, in any way that we do that in our local churches, calls into question our nonprofit status, our 501c3 status. So it's very appropriate for it to be in this resolution. But I'd like to hear a definition of hate language if the presenter could do that.
I'll say, you're speaking against, but you're also asking a question.
I'm asking a question
Okay,
of
so,
the presenter about the hate language.
The presenter is this part of the lingo of the?
Well, this was going over with our solicitor. I cannot speak from a legal perspective as to the specific definition of hate language, and of course, Rob's not here. If I could just go on to say, I would find it hard to think that we as the church would want to use hate language in a general sense. But
Okay. Microphone number 6, for or against? We're in order for one in favor. Are you speaking in favor of?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
if you're in favor of this amendment,
I'm in favor of this amendment.
then you're in order. Fire away.
Okay. I'm in favor of this
Who are
amendment.
you?
I'm sorry. Chris Eden, Beams Church Clergy Delegate, Southwest District. I believe that item E, engaging in partisan political activities, the definition of that should not be relegated to an electronic policy, but instead should be left to leadership to decide whether it's appropriate or not, and hire and fire and ban or not ban based on that rather than on this policy line item. Item C, or use of hate language. I agree. That's an open-ended, nebulous, interpretive item. I mean, I don't want hate. Does anybody want hateful language coming out of our conference? No. I think we could leave that up to the leadership, the employees, the HR department, or whomever to make that decision. Thank you.
That was against. He was for. Okay, we'll need one speaking against the amendment. Are you against number 1?
I have a question.
Is that in order? That's in order.
Monica Geppet, West Grove United Methodist Church Clergy Delegate. Jim, I know that much of our previous resolution came from legal status. How much of this language here are we basing on some of these new laws? That might be educational for all of us.
yeah, it's not based on new legislation. It was based on looking at a variety of policies that have been put into place by different organizations. The conference trustees adopted a policy that's somewhat like this. I can't say specifically if those lines are in it or not, for conference staff, the conference office. And I had remarks at the beginning that I wanted to include that the chancellor of the entire United Methodist Church says we need a policy that deals with electronic media. So this was kind of put together from a variety of sources and reviewed by legal counsel.
Okay, we have 2 in favor and 1 against, so we need someone to speak against. Is microphone number 4, are you speaking against?
Yes.
Okay, you're in order.
My name is Mike Bassick, equalizing lay member, Northeast District. For as much as I agree that no one here would want to use hate speech or political or whatever, the point of this is that I've seen, and I work with my local church's Safe Sanctuaries policy and implementing that. One thing we have to remember is this needs to be here because it's also legal ramifications. If it's taken out, then it can go against us just as much as it could be leaving it in. If we take it out, it's going to cause more problems for us. Not only in the sense of if something happens, it's going to, they could come back and try and sue us or whatever they're going to do with us, but it doesn't leave a basis for any policies for the individual churches to follow either.
Okay, that's a speech against. Now, speech 4 will be in order of the amendment. Is microphone 3, are you in favor? No. No. Anybody in favor in the room? Number 2, are you in favor? Number 5 is speaking in favor. You are in order, number 5.
Yes. My name is Jane Bonner. I'm an equalizing lay delegate, and my concern here is the term hate language, because in a lot of different parts of the country and other parts of the world, this can be misconstrued in different ways. If a person speaks about the discipline of our church and the position our church takes on homosexuality, that could cost someone their job and be considered hate speech. So we really do have to consider whether or not we want to use that term.
Okay, that'll be speech in favor. Speech against, the microphone number 3. Were you speaking against? You were there before.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're in order. You got there first.
Dan Lebo, pastor, Annville United Methodist Church, Northwest District. I would speak against this because I believe that hate speech has legal definitions that are applied to it that make it not as nebulous as we might think. It's about targeting particular groups of people in ways that insult or threaten them. And I think that we as a church can say that we don't want those types of language in our church. So it's not as nebulous as we would think.
Okay, we've had 3 in favor, 3 opposed. It would be okay to have 1 in favor again. Number 4, are you speaking in favor?
Speaking in favor. Jerry Hughes, lay delegate, Glenwood Heights United Methodist Church. We do not want hate speech. However, hate speech as a definition, as a legal definition, is nebulous. It changes from day to day, person to person. Therefore, if we have this in our policy, that is what opens us up to legal ramifications. You leave it out, there is nothing that can be challenged.
Speech opposed. Anyone out there with the speech opposed? How about microphone number 1?
I call the previous question just the amendment, not the issue before it, not the original motion.
That's not debatable, so if you're ready to vote on this amendment piece, lift the hand and say aye. If not, same sign. Okay, we're ready to vote. Do we have a question at microphone 2? A question in order?
I just have Elizabeth Santos Fisher from the Northwest District. I just have a question in terms of if we're understanding correctly the term hate speech. I borrowed the Wi-Fi and just to look into what does hate speech mean in terms of legally or for whatever manner in Pennsylvania. So may I have just to read this?
Well, that's not a question. You have to ask a question.
The question is does it mean what it means in the definition for on the internet and in terms of related to legal? So may I read it? And then you can answer whether or not that's what you mean by hate speech?
I don't know that we can go that route because I'm not sure I can verify the authority, and he already said they didn't have a legal answer for you. So I think our answer is we got to work on that.
Okay.
So the body's ready to vote on the amendment only, not the whole thing. So if you want to agree with the amendments relating to item 2, taking out the use of hate speech, taking out engaging in partisan political activity, lift the hand and say aye. If not, same sign. It does not pass. Okay, so we're back to the original motion. As there 2021, anyone want to speak for or against it? Number 1's back. Yeah, you were here a long time ago.
Yeah,
I remember you.
Hi,
You're from
I'm
Faith
Kim.
Alive.
Yes, my name is Kim Eckhart, and I just have a couple points to make. In number 3, I'm not sure what it means by the church has the right to monitor the employees. Who is the church in number 3?
That's a question, or you're speaking?
That's a question.
Okay, let's start with the question. Say the question again.
Who is the church? Is that up to the individual churches to decide who monitors?
The intent of that was the local church.
Okay.
And I wouldn't mind putting that in if you'd like. Or do you not, does that muddy it? Okay.
Just leave it. Okay. It's a church. Okay, does anyone have a speech in favor? Or no? You just had a question.
Another question as well, or a point.
Okay, that's a question.
Okay. And the, on number 6, it says that communications are not secure and no confidential information shall be sent over the internet. But yet, on line 49, it says that it should include a confidentiality statement. And a lot of things in the church are confidential. Like if they use their credit cards or confidential emails going back and forth.
Would you clarify the confidentiality piece?
Yeah, the sending of confidential information is a little different than the statement at the end that says everything shall remain confidential. I know that sounds a little strange, but what you're saying to somebody is, you've received this, but it's for you only. It might not be something that's confidential. So, you know, the idea of that statement at the end, I don't see in conflict with the statement about not sending confidential information over the church's computers. I'm trying to find it here. We all need to be thinking about the fact that there is the ability to hack. And so having a mindset that we don't send anything over the internet that we don't want anybody else to see is a policy that, or a practice that we ought to be adopting.
Okay, thank you. Microphone number 2, what's your business?
Yes, my name is Mark Cusimano. I'm a lay member of the United Methodist Church. I just had also a question on number 6.
Is this a question?
It's a question
Okay,
about
just speak up, that's all.
about your use of confidential information. Does that include things like getting bank statements, requesting background checks, or ordering stuff over the internet? Because if you exclude all those things, you pretty much make the computer somewhat useless for many of the churches in their day-to-day activities.
Yeah, and the intent of this would not be to keep you from ordering a Cokesbury order and having your credit card number on there. The intent would be to have information that you might be wanting to talk about, confidential counseling information with a consultant that you're working with or something like that. That's the intent.
Is there any way you could include language that would clarify that? Because the general reading of it wouldn't state that.
I'm not sure we're prepared to do that at this time.
It would have to come from an amendment.
You could write an amendment. We can table this and bring it back, but I'm not telling you what to do. We simply have to help the body. If you want to amend, you have to write something, sit down and write something and work on it.
Well, the amendment that I could add is that you could amend that to say shall be sent over the internet without the use of the secure socket layer, which would be an HTTPS connection that all banks, merchants, and I'm sure the state have for the communication of confidential information.
You need to write that out.
Okay.
So write it out and come back, because we have to have it in good form to have us deal with it in a proper way.
Okay.
Thank you. Microphone number 4.
Yeah, offer an amendment.
Okay, who are you?
I was going to get to that. Greg Ellis,
Okay.
Conference Disaster Coordinator. My amendment would be on line 42 and 43, the one we've been discussing, to actually strike no confidential information shall be sent over the internet.
Do I have a second? It's been second. We want to speak to it?
Yeah, thank you. As it is written, we would not be able to send information between clergy in an email that, oh, Mrs. Smith is in the hospital, please go visit her, because that is considered confidential information. I also would not be able to send a status report to FEMA during a disaster using church resources.
Would anyone like to speak for or against this? Microphone number 4.
I happen to be one of the leaders of a mission team for this conference called Carpenter Calling.
What's your name?
Theodoraki Rules.
All right.
And we all the time nailed and addresses between the leadership. Any other way to do it would take forever.
So you're speaking in favor of taking out that sentence?
Yes.
Okay, You're in order. Anyone speaking against? Microphone number, no, you're not. Anybody speaking against? Number 5. Speaking
I
against.
just want to make this, my name is Jason Perkowski, pastor, local licensed pastor at Faith United Methodist. I'm wanting to offer an amendment to the amendment, if that's appropriate, Bishop. And I would imagine that George probably
You're
will
in
not even
order.
be speaking against me.
I'm loving this. No, you're in order. Go ahead.
I would simply, at the end of the word secure, I agree with Greg when he said we should strike that second sentence, but I would extend the first sentence to say, and should develop policies accordingly, period. Let the local church develop their policies as they see fit.
Okay, do I have a second? Okay, so it would read, users must assume that all internet communications are not secure and should develop policies as they see fit. Can you accept that, Greg?
Well, under his rule, I can't accept it. So what I'll do is I'll withdraw mine and let his stand.
Okay, that one's, is that okay? Okay, he's withdrawing him, and he's the new news. Number 4 has been withdrawn. So now Now we're going to go, the new amendment is users must assume that all internet communications are not secure and should develop policies as they see fit. That's not right?
That's not right because the language isn't correct. His language and his language don't add up. That's why we need to write this stuff.
Well, he's taken out that's, yeah, you got to write it out.
Your languages don't match. No.
But if he's withdrawing it,
But if he withdraws it, the only thing that happens,
parliamentary moment.
if he withdraws this, it will read, users must assume that all internet communications are not secure. No confidential information shall be sent over the internet, comma.
But he's taken that out.
But what he did, he has to adopt that language. He's got to adopt his language. His amendment, his motion has to have those words.
Okay, your motion, Jason, has to say exactly what it has to say. So say what you exactly have to say. Microphone number 5, please.
My motion is to strike the second sentence in clause 6
Okay, take out the second sentence and then the
and
first
extend
sentence.
the first sentence by simply adding, and should develop policies accordingly, period.
Okay, see that the secretary gets a copy of that. Do we have a
Yep.
second? Do we have a second? Anyone like to speak for or against this? Okay, seeing no one wanting to speak, 3 wants to speak, way back there. 3's over there. 3, what is your business, for or against this?
Against.
Against this this amendment, Jason Perkowski amendment, and speak away.
Well, I'm Steve Hansel, clergy, East District, Montgomery Square United Methodist Church. I think I got all that covered. I'm against this particular amendment because there's a fundamental issue of differentiating email communications from other computer usages that may not be going through email, and any connection can be hacked at any rate. This does not cure that problem, and when the appropriate time comes, I would move to table this for further thought to really look at how electronic communications work. Because to leave it to local churches to come up with a policy, they're not all that sophisticated sometimes. So I think this needs more thought, more development, and more look at how electronics really works.
It is appropriate for you to table this motion.
I would then like to move to table this motion for further consideration at the next annual conference.
At the next annual conference or the adjourned session? Which one? The next one really is the adjourned, but the next,
I would say the next annual conference when everybody in the body will be here.
Okay, it's in order. To lay on the table is in order. It's been seconded. It's non-debatable, and we're going to vote, and a majority vote. Okay, if you'd like to table all this, is that what you're saying? Just this motion, meaning just this number 6 business. You only speak, no.
Actually, when the time comes, I want to table the whole
Only talking to the motion,
thing.
the Burkowski motion, not all that goes before, just Burkowski. If you wish to table this, lift the hand and say aye. Just the motion. If not, same sign. Table fails. Okay.
Then
Now, the
may
motion
I-
is still alive, and you have spoken against it. So now
So the amendment's still on the table for discussion?
it's still alive, and you just said
Okay.
no for it.
I'll
So-
wait till the motion comes up to table that.
Okay, then we're.
I have to wait till the
We're
amendment's
about to, a speech in favor, number 7? Number 7.
Bunny Bryant, Union and Havertown, lay member. Actually, I'd like to make a grammatical correction to the suggested change. And it has to do with what we really mean by users. Users must assume that all internet communications are not secure, comma, and each church, as an addition to that, should. Each church should. Is that acceptable to the person
Is that
who...
acceptable to Jason Perkowski? You got to get on mic. I can't hear you because I just can't hear you. No, it wasn't.
I can't accept a friendly amendment because there's no such thing in parliamentary procedures, but I would support that and I would second it.
Okay,
And then the body has to vote for it.
I just take that authority. We're going to put each church in there because you're
Thank
okay
you.
with it. And now we're back to looking for a speech in favor of the Perkowski amendment. Do I have a in favor? Do I have an opposed? I see nothing. Do I have questions? Okay, you're ready to vote on Perkowski motion, and this is an amendment. If you will support it, lift the hand and say aye. If not, same sign, and it is done. Now we're back to the original as amended. Is there anyone wanting to make a speech in favor or against? Number 2?
May I permit it to ask a question?
A question, okay, you're in order.
Okay. Denise Plugger, Clergy, Southwest District. I have a question, let me see here, about point number 5, line 39. Only persons authorized to speak on behalf of the church may post in the church's name. Could you please clarify that, for example, on a Facebook page that a church may have? Can anyone post on that? And when you say post in the church's name, you mean the United Methodist Church, the individual church? It's a little more clarification because we open up our Facebook pages to our congregation. We befriend people who don't belong to our congregation. We make that page available for them to post on the church's page, possibly.
You can answer that?
You can't speak as a representative of the church to say, you know, the church takes a position on something or is scheduling something or whatever, unless you have the approval of that church. By the church, I mean the local church. It's to keep people from, you know, stating some sort of an opinion on Facebook, for instance, and representing it that the church feels that way when they haven't been approved to do that.
Okay. I do have another question, Bishop.
Okay, speak loud.
Okay. At the bottom of this resolution, it says that sample policies, policy templates, and/or forms will be posted on the conference website.
Yes.
I don't know if this is a motion or whatever, but I'm asking about statements to be included in there as well. Because statements. You refer to confidentiality statement right above that. And it may perhaps be helpful to some of us if we were given sample statements of this or anything else that may arise.
And that is the intent, absolutely.
Okay.
The solicitor either has that drafted or will shortly.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Microphone number 4.
Can I make a motion to table this entire resolution? It's very clear that we have too many questions and too many unanswered loopholes. I move that we look to tabling this resolution till next annual conference when it can be worked on a little bit further.
Okay, it's in order. Is there a second? It's non-debatable, so if you wish to table it, it has to be a majority, and then it will be brought back a little more perfected next year. If you would do that, lift the hand and say aye. If not, same sign. It was close, but no cigar. I think it did pass. All right, it's a majority.